All right, YouTube, TikTok, thank you for coming in tonight. We have a major news update for you guys. Before we get into it, I do want to say that we're probably about to cap off. We have about 98 more spots left in our Discord. So I allowed 100 more. We already got a couple more today. If you want to get into our exclusive Discord community, we try to keep it tight. We're trying to keep it tight. So we have about 90 spots left. If you want to get into that, it's over at zachrector.com. In tonight's live stream, we're going to be talking about XRP retail traders being cut off. Remember, we have not got XRP coming to public exchanges since 2019. I'm going to go through all of the whale alerts, and you're going to see that there's no more XRP coming to the exchanges, but we're seeing that the on-demand liquidity partners are moving it, big chunks of XRP. So we'll cover that. We have the coming crypto purge. I'm going to be talking about the Ethereum Consensys boys are about to be audited. We're going to go through that one and how that's going to affect the rest of the crypto space. We already know we got regulations and an executive order coming from Sleepy Creepy anytime now. The State of the Union last night. How about that? Huh? Okay, and then we're going to get into CBDCs and how we're going to have tokenized gold, tokenized stocks, commodities, and a whole internet of value with gold and XRP as the reserve currencies of this new financial system. We are going to talk about how the WEF, I won't say the name of that group, but you guys know who that is, right? They've reached out their tentacles into each country, each central bank. All of the politicians that have sold us out are working towards this agenda, and they are trying to usher in a great reset. We're going to cover it all tonight here. Tonight's update is going to be pretty lit. So I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you for coming in. God bless you all. There is the community right there. The Secret Sauce Secrets. Head on in if you guys want to check it out. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Let's get into it. Major statements coming in from Fed Chair Jerome Powell today. He says that war underscores the need for crypto regulation. Here we are now. They are begging us to now take action to ban cryptocurrencies, right? Because they're able to skirt sanctions. They're able to get around this. Now, the other thing that came out today was that Fed Chair Powell said that there's the potential for another reserve currency. There's potential for more than just one reserve currency. Now, this is incredible coming from the Federal Reserve Chairman who's in charge of our reserve currency, our U.S. currency, that is supposed to maintain value and maintain the life and the wealth that we've created in this country. We're all trading these dollars every day. Our whole lives revolve around this little fiat funny money, monopoly money from the cartel that we call our Federal Reserve Central Bank system. So there's Jerome Powell right there, and he is saying that now we have a need for cryptocurrency regulations to prevent sanctioned individuals from using cryptocurrency to evade sanctions. Now, I wasn't going to, I forgot about this, but I got to mention, huge shout out to Coinbase, Binance, other major exchanges are stepping up to the plate, and they're saying that no, we aren't going to ban Russian citizens, just the regular average Russian citizen, from trading cryptos and being able to use our platforms. So huge shout out to these folks at Coinbase, Binance, and the other exchanges that are taking a stand. I saw that Kraken's CEO, Jesse Powell, said that if we're going to start going after people that are guilty of war crimes and all that, then we're going to have to start by banning U.S. citizens first. And this is what I've been saying the whole time, is we want to be hypocritical. We want to judge big bad Putin, the big bad bear over there, which I'm not saying, I don't trust Putin. I don't trust Russian media. I'm not a fan of Russia. No. But the point is, right, that this is a setup right here where we have the US dollar collapsing, SWIFT system collapsing, right? They're moving around SWIFT, and they're holding, as I stated in my last video that I just posted, fat stacks of gold. So, Fed Chair Powell admitting that the US dollar's days are numbered. It's time for a reset, revaluation of the US dollar. Blockchain company Consensys faces multi-billion-dollar audit as shareholders claim broad breaches of fiduciary duties attributed to Arthur Falls. Folks, we've been warning about the Ethereum free pass. This is the crypto purge that is coming. People commenting on my last post with Dan Pena, well, he's against crypto. Which side are you on, man? I've been saying 99% of cryptos are going away, guys. This is a setup. I've been saying, have fun at the casino, but they're about to close it off. This whole pyramid scheme, this whole thing is built on top of the Ethereum free pass. And Consensys and what Joe Lubin has been doing over here is shady as hell. Remember, they helped hide all of the early Ethereum investors, right? You guys saw the Algorand versus Ethereum ICO comparison that I put out. I'm going to be doing more of those. But I mean, just blatant securities violations with what they've done and what they're currently doing still. So this is about, I'm not even going to get into this, but basically Consensys is Joseph Lubin's company, right? They own MetaMask. They own a couple other things. Basically, it's all the infrastructure tools of Ethereum, right? They've been doing all sorts of shady stuff here. Right here, on August 14, 2020, fundamental intellectual property and subsidiaries were illegally transferred from Consensys into a new entity, Consensys Software Incorporated, in exchange for 10% ownership of CSI and an offset of $39 million loan by founder Joseph Lubin. Joe Lubin. This is criminal. You have securities violations. You have violation of their fiduciary duty. But now the truth is being revealed. All truth is being revealed. Consensys faces multi-billion-dollar audit because the people there's shareholders that are getting screwed out by what Joe is doing right here, what Consensys and Ethereum and what they've all been doing. Now this tweet was spot on. A tale of two stars. Ripple's North Star has always been the internet of value. Consensys and Joe Lubin's North Star is crime and corruption. When the Bank of International Settlements and the IMF and central banks of the world are looking for public-private partnerships for central bank digital currencies, who will they look to? It's going to be Ripple, it's going to be Stellar, it's going to be Algorand. We've been talking about this. Remember, 90% of this space, damn near, is built on top of Ethereum, on top of that protocol. ERC20 tokens, there's just thousands of them. Right? At Ripple, we talk about the internet of value, our North Star of enabling money to move like information does. But how does this concept translate into banking? And then when we compare it to Consensys, and we have, this is basically, Project North Star was the name of this operation that Consensys did to exchange this intellectual property and whatever they were doing, shuffling things around, right? This was called Project North Star. Internally, codenamed Project North Star, the transaction resulted in legacy financial institutions such as JP Morgan Chase acquiring an influential stake in MetaMask. This is how they're getting the backdoor deals, and Joe Lubin's involved in it. And this is why I don't even really expect them to get the SEC to come down on them too hard, is because they have JP Morgan. Everything they're doing benefits JP Morgan and is probably hurting the smaller shareholders. So they're taking care of the big guys. Joseph Lubin, right? While the small shareholders get screwed. Two of the most widely used infrastructure tools in Ethereum, MetaMask and Infura. 1 year later, this intellectual property was used to raise funding for CSI at a valuation of $3 billion, with rumors of a $7 billion valuation for the current round. You see how they shuffle this around? Then they get that higher valuation. I mean, it's totally corrupt. So that's their North Star over there at Ethereum. Building a Ponzi scheme on top of their free pass, uncertainty, gray area for the whole cryptocurrency space, holding back innovation in America so that they could benefit them and their Wall Street buddies and the insiders of Ethereum from the very beginning. In regards to this Ripple lawsuit, we have Jeremy Hogan saying that we could see settlement in April or May. Okay? So that's a timeline that he's kind of been on. The major thing right now is the DPP. We're waiting to get a hearing, the word from the judge on whether or not we're going to be able to see Ripple's going to be able to see those 63 emails in regards to the draft Hinman speech, the Ethereum free pass speech. So the timing of all of this couldn't be better. There are no coincidences and everything is connected absolutely 100%. And by the way, words do matter. The fact that Ripple called it that's their North Star It's almost like they knew what they were doing, that we'd be able to look back and compare the two North Stars, right? But here's where we're at with this lawsuit. We're waiting on the deliberative process privilege, which is in regards to the Hinman emails. And we have the SEC and Ripple have 14 days to discuss settlement for 1 hour. So they're going to only sit down and mediate for 1 hour sometime over the next 2 weeks. So everybody wants to know timeline. Over the next 2 weeks, we're in a no man's land. We have no idea. We could get a ruling from the judge on DPP at any time now, and we could have a settlement announced any time now. Over the next 2 weeks, look out. That's where we're at with the Ripple lawsuit. We're just in a gray area right now. Okay? If we don't get a settlement though, yeah, we're talking April, May. But guys, for sure this thing's going to be done in a year. So for me, it doesn't matter. If they want to tank this thing, we miss the bull run and we go back down to 20 cents, I'll be backing up the truck. Big time. Big time. If they send it, we're positioned for that. And I will be offloading all of my cryptos besides my XRP if we do catch this alt season this month. That's my exit strategy in a nutshell. Not financial advice. Don't copy me. Let's look at the whales. Let's look at the on-demand liquidity partners moving XRP. We have 20 million XRP transferred from unknown wallet to Bitso. That's an on-demand liquidity partner. Then we have 16 million XRP transferred from Bitso to an unknown wallet. So we have large chunks of XRP moving around. Yesterday, we did see that Ripple, they got the billion XRP released to them from the escrow. They sent back 500 million. So they sent back half of it. But we have not seen any XRP go out to retail exchanges. So as I continue to tell you guys, XRP is not meant for us, and they're not giving any more XRP to exchanges. Could that change? Yes, absolutely. Coming up here, Coinbase could relist it, and they want to send a few $100 million to Coinbase to load up Coinbase, to load up the other exchanges after the lawsuit's done. Absolutely. But for the time being, there is no XRP that's going out into the secondary market public exchanges for retail traders. It's going only to on-demand liquidity partners here like Bitso. Continuing on, we have 20 million XRP transferred from unknown wallet to CoinsPH. That's another on-demand liquidity partner. Then we have 50 million XRP transferred from Nexo to an unknown wallet. I don't know what that's about. But this channel here, this page, Whale Alert, allows us to watch these movements. 50 million XRP. Then we have 80 million XRP transferred from an unknown wallet to an unknown wallet. Now, before we go on to that, so you have, what do we have? 80 million, 50 million, so that's 130 million, plus another 20 million at Coinbase, so what's the 150? And another 20 million at Bitso, so nearly 200 million XRP moving between on-demand liquidity partners and Nexo. And some of the other on-demand liquidity partners. That's what happened last month too, is they're only giving the XRP to their on-demand liquidity partners. And what did we just get from Tranglo? 25 corridors fired up, and they work in over 100 different countries. So, I mean, guys, they're firing it up. The new system is here. The rest of the world is getting ahead of us. Here in America, we're stalling, and we have Jerome Powell telling us that there's a possibility of another reserve currency being out there. Well, I hope we have a plan, Jerome, because it's happening now. Now, we also had 414 million XLM transferred from unknown wallet to the Stellar Development Foundation operations account. That's a big chunk of XLM right there. And what's interesting about this is usually we don't see XLM moving like this, but 400 million XLM. Remember, all of the XLM supply is already out there. The 50 billion XLM, or whatever the total supply is, it's about 50 billion. It's all out there. It's all out in the public, right? So this was an interesting move to see 400 million XLM transferred from an unknown wallet. That's probably Jed. Jed just doing some interesting behind the scenes deals. You know how he operates. We don't talk about Jed or the entities that he's tied to or where he comes from. And then we had this, which I just thought was interesting and kind of funny. I guess it's good. I guess a donation of 1 million Tether was just made to support Ukraine. So they printed another million Tether so that they could give it to Ukraine. I don't know what to make of that. I mean, I guess it's only 1 million Tether, and usually they print 1 billion, hundreds of billions at a time. So, I mean, I guess this shouldn't affect Tether too much. It's just 1 million, and they're known to just do 1 billion at a time usually. But yeah, they had to print it out of thin air so that they could donate it to Ukraine. Yeah, that's a joke. Anyway, speaking on the situation, I thought that we should be fair and balanced, unlike the mainstream media. I thought this tweet had to be shared, and this has to be highlighted because I want to be fair and balanced, unlike the mainstream media. Speaking of Ukraine, 1,059 airstrikes conducted on Yemen, a little country that everyone forgets about or never even knew about. Kind of like Ukraine, they couldn't have found that country on a map if you asked them to before this whole crisis went down. They still couldn't find Ukraine on a map, as a matter of fact. But let's put hashtag Ukraine in there. Anyways, speaking of Ukraine, 1,059 airstrikes conducted on Yemen by the coalition in December 2021. So in the month of December, and he says January total was higher, so that would be over 2,000 airstrikes. February, no different. Average of 3 air raids every 2 hours, hardly mentioned on the media. P.S. Drone raids excluded. So that doesn't include the drone strikes either. So I'm just saying, let's be fair and balanced, you know? Let's put hashtag Ukraine, hashtag Russia, hashtag Yemen, hashtag all the other countries that the United States has destroyed. Let's not forget about those. Let's just be fair and balanced. How about this news coming out of Canada? What the heck is happening up there? My brothers and sisters to the north, what is going on? At 3 p.m. Eastern, the Canadian Junior Hockey League will announce that Russian and Belarusian, I don't know how you say that, the people from Belarus, Russian and Belarusian 16 and 17-year-old children will be banned from the upcoming draft of the Canadian Junior Hockey League. This person says, I am Ukrainian born and want peace. I do not believe banning teenagers for something they do not control is the answer. Gee, no kidding. What is going on? These people are sick. You're going to punish children in another country over what is happening? And that's why I got to say, huge shout out to Coinbase, Binance, for still allowing the Russian users, the Russian people, the average citizens that are just caught up in this mess, that if they even go try to protest the war in Russia, they get busted upside the head and put in a van. Guys, I'm not a fan of Russia. Like Putin is not my hero. I'm not going to say whether he's doing good or bad or all that. That's a whole nother conversation, and I can't even talk about it on the public forums. But what the heck are these people doing? You know, this is absurd. This is absurd. So I thought that, you know, we should cover that too. And then in regards to the State of the Union, we have from Bill Malugan. I asked 3 Border Patrol agents for their reaction to Biden calling for a secure border during the State of the Union. One of them said, effing pandering 101, full of Shiite. The second one said, I laughed. And the third one said, LMAO, to be honest, didn't even watch it. Figured it would be all lies and smoke. We're losing so many agents, they're fed up. So that's the answers from the Border Patrol agents when asked about their reaction to President Joe Biden stating that we should secure the border. Nancy's little reaction. I would bet all of my XRP and my whole net worth that Nancy was drunk last night. I swear that she was so lit last night. I was telling my Discord. Kamala was stoned, Nancy was drunk, and Joe is on whatever concoction they got him on, but he's jacked up on another planet. Can't even speak. Kamala looks like she's just glazed over, hit the blizzant before she stepped up there, and Nancy is like a kid in the candy shop, just sauced. But I shouldn't even talk about that. I'm going to get in trouble. I hope it works out for us here in America. Good leaders. Good stuff. Good job, Joe. Good job, Gary. The rest of the gang, appreciate you guys. Thank you. I love Joe Biden. I love Nancy Pelosi. I love Hillary Clinton. I love Hunter, even though I don't know where Hunter's at. But hey, cool. People are sick. Let's go to Jim Rickards, which we're going to have to be covering Jim Rickards every single night. He's just been on point, unfiltered, letting loose, and I love to see it. Taking a step back, stocks are at a May 2021 level. A technical head and shoulders pattern is complete. Jay Powell is raising rates. Q1 2022 projected GDP growth is 0.0%. Oil prices are highest in 7 years, and sanctions are breaking supply chains. Good luck. So I'm about to get into where I think this market's going here at the end, but this is kind of just building up for what kind of situation we're seeing right now. Take a look at this. He's reminding us what happened before when they started to shut down these exchanges, which we're seeing right now. They're shutting down the New York Stock Exchange, basically not letting people sell their Russian stocks. Russia is doing the same thing over there with their stock exchange. Jim Rickard says, I wonder if the geniuses at the Treasury and White House recall how the 1998 long-term capital management meltdown began. That's LTCM meltdown began. By September 28, 1998, we were hours away from closing every market in the world. Now, he talked about this in his books. I read his books like years ago. And his most recent one, what's it called? The Coming Great Depression. It's something about the New Great Depression, something like that, which he dropped in 2020. Spot on. He's been spot on for years. I've been loving all of his books. But this is what happened. August 17th, you had the ruble devaluation and moratorium on Russian bonds. Here we are once again, right? Then we have on September 2nd, LTCM warning to shareholders. September 22nd, meeting of LTCM with banks at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. September 23rd, LTCM recapitalized by consortium of banks with $3.625 billion. September 29th, so after they basically bailed them out. LTCM was having a meltdown, they bailed them out. And then the Fed had to start cutting rates, right? They had to ease money supply. So they started to cut rates. So after that, before all markets were about to melt down on September 28th, they bailed out LTCM. And then on the 29th, the Fed cut by 25 basis points to 5.25%. On October 15th, the Fed cut another 25 basis points to 5%. And then on November 17th, they cut again down to 4.75. So 3 months in a row, they cut by 25 basis points. Now, what's different this time? They can't cut rates. This is where we're at with rates right now. 0.25. Sorry. Yeah, no, that's it. 0.25. Less than 0.5%. Less than 0.5% is what the Fed funds rate is at right now. There is no more to cut rates unless they go negative. Right? That's why this situation's different. This situation's different. They're telling us that they're going to raise rates, but that's gonna end this party, right? Now, this news. Canadians should brace for economic collateral damage as sanctions against Russia mount. And this is Chrystia Freeland. And she is part of the entity that I won't name, but they start with the W and have an EF after, WEF. She's all part of this, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance up there in Canada. Okay, right? So they have an agenda, right? These sanctions are damaging not only Russia's economy, but they're affecting us too. America used to be energy independent under our last administration, and now we're forced to buy oil and other resources from other countries after we were already energy independent, right? So that's just undeniable facts. And I don't know what Joe said last night. He's going to release 60 billion barrels, whatever he said. That's nothing. That's not going to do anything for us. So we have to remember, and then when we cut off SWIFT, when we cut off Russia from SWIFT, that's going to affect us, our liquidity on the other end as well. Now, let's continue on here. So here's some bookmarks that I had. The Fed is just looking for any excuse to get these money printers fired back up. This is the only option that they really have. This is the only option that they really have, is just to print, because they can't lower interest rates. So the other lever that they have is money supply, money injection. And they're saying that they're going to end tapering, but how are they actually going to do that, right? SWIFT Russian ban could force Fed to step in, Credit Suisse says. Right. So all these sanctions being passed by Europe, by America, by Canada, it's coming back to affect us, the average citizens, when we pay for higher gas, when we pay for higher cost of everything else, right? Exclusions from SWIFT will lead to missed payments and giant overdrafts similar to the missed payments and giant overdrafts that we saw in March 2020. Banks' inability to make payments due to their exclusion from SWIFT is the same as Lehman's inability to make payments due to its clearing bank's unwillingness to send payments on its behalf. History does not repeat itself, but it often rhymes. So here we are once again. As far as where this market goes next, I am shout out to my boy Pablo. He put out a TikTok, and I feel exactly the same. And he actually got some good data here. He's got some good charts. So I'm just going to play this 59-second TikTok, and I'm going to show you guys. I do believe that something along this lines, what he's saying, is kind of what we've been calling for as well. Over 500 in the YouTube, over 200 in the TikTok. Thank you for tuning in tonight, guys. I appreciate you all. Let's check it out. Let's see what our boy Pablo has to say.
So, because of the sanctions from the US, Putin is now only allowing $10,000 maximum withdrawal in foreign exchange per Russian citizen. And that's caused all these Russian billionaires to buy Bitcoins. But then how high do you think Bitcoins can go on this bounce? Okay, let's look for some historical examples. This is in 2019 March when Iran was sanctioned, and the Iranians started buying Bitcoins to trade with the Western world, and Bitcoin went from $4,000 up to $12,000, which is a 2.5x return. But keep in mind, the Russian economy is $1.5 trillion, which is 7.5 times larger than the Iranian economy. But keep in mind, now at $44,000, Bitcoin is now 11 times larger than it was back in 2019. So according to my calculations, this time Bitcoin can possibly do a 1.7x, which is to go to around 63K. But keep in mind, there's still war, inflation, and the Fed tightening. So it's not very likely.
Yeah.
So
I really think that he's spot on there with that one. That's a good point, right? So when Iran was getting the sanctions, we saw a run up in Bitcoin. Now we have Russia. And I would argue that you need to add in Russia, China, and basically everyone across the world that now wants to rush into crypto, and they want to rush into metals, and they're pulling as much cash as they can out of the ATMs. A lot of people, the question now is, a lot of people are saying that we have decoupled from the stock market. Well, I pulled up the Bitcoin chart here. This is from the beginning of the year. If we take a look here, this is from the beginning of the year for Bitcoin. And now let's flip on over to the Dow Jones. So people are saying that over the last few days, we decoupled because yesterday on March 1st, the Dow was down a few hundred points, right? It was down like 500 points and Bitcoin was up a little bit. But the Dow has recovered today, right? And if you do look since the beginning of the year, Bitcoin has actually, it's had a swing of up to 30% if you measure from the absolute top to bottom. And then if you go to the Dow here, you have a swing of only 12%, which obviously the stocks are less volatile than crypto, but I think that we still are moving with the rest of the stock market as well, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a run up in this month because of what we're seeing with Russia, the sanctions. The rest of the world is done with the US dollar. The rest of the world, like the whole world wants to store value, and they want to get freed up. They want decentralized currency, which gold was the first decentralized cryptocurrency going back thousands of years, right? And I don't hold metals as of right now. I'm about to buy some. But yes, gold was the first decentralized cryptocurrency, the first decentralized currency, right? And now people are pulling out cash as much as they can out of the banks. They're flooding to metals. So are the central banks. And then you're seeing all of Wall Street, all the banks and financial institutions are sitting on record amounts of cash. And if you look at the corporations and what they're doing with their balance sheets, like Warren Buffett and all them, all the big time investors, they're sitting on record amounts of cash, waiting to buy the blood in the streets that I do believe is coming. For now, it does not seem that we've really decoupled from the stock market, but that I do believe that the stocks could rise back up during this time as well. I could see usually the US dollar and even sometimes American stocks do tend to be a safe haven during times of uncertainty. But this time around, you're seeing that people want cash, metals, and they want crypto, right? So I think that that is kind of part of the reason why we're seeing this push to the upside over the last few days, right? We have moved, since we bottomed out, that was February 24th, we bottomed out, and we've moved up about 27%, over 30% pump for Bitcoin during that time. So like Pablo was saying, he's got a target that could take us up to about 63K. That's what we've been saying too, right? We match up the BC backer fractal. We're looking 50 to 60K for that range. And so that's kind of along the same lines that Pablo's saying. BC backer, you match up all these charts with the news and the narrative that we're seeing. The thing that ends this party is the Federal Reserve actions, raising interest rates, ending tapering, if they actually do that. But the other thing would be the regulations coming in for cryptocurrencies in this country. The other catalyst would be the Ripple lawsuit. So the two things to watch, the four things to watch out for is going to be the actions of the Federal Reserve, raising interest rates, ending tapering. The third thing is going to be regulations. That's an executive order from Sleepy Creepy. The fourth thing is going to be a lawsuit, settlement, some sort of deal here with Ripple and the SEC. Those are the four main catalysts that I'm watching. Okay. The only other thing that could really pull this thing down, that actually probably will pull this thing down, but I don't think it will happen until later in this month potentially, would be cyber attacks. So we're watching out for that. I didn't even mean to say that word on this stream. I got to think of a code word for that. But the system could be going down. You're seeing the mainstream news talking about it now, really hitting the headlines everywhere, telling people that this is a serious concern for both sides, for both parties. So we're going to be watching this one closely. I appreciate all of you guys for coming in. If you guys could hit that thumbs up for me, I would greatly appreciate that. And now let's get into rapid fire Q&A. Let's run up a quick session here. Thank you for tuning in.